did we get here? How did all of this happen? How come I never told my wife that what I had with that lady was a one-night stand, which I so much regretted? I never told her that those calls and hiding was because the lady was blackmailing me, and I was so scared that she would leave me if she finds out. How come I started bragging instead of pleading for mercy when she found out? God, please help me. In the big city of Abuja lived a lovely couple, David and Jane Owala, popularly known and called the Owalas. David and Jane have been married for 15 years and are still moving strong. Not until 6 months ago, when Jane noticed some changes in her husband. His phone was always ringing and he never picks his calls in her presence. He started to hide while answering his calls. He changed his phone password and is always with his phone, unlike him that drops his phone on the table and would usually ask her to check who is calling whenever his phone rings. Several times, Jane had asked her husband if all was alright, but he said he was fine. She asked him who was always calling him at odd hours of the night, but he didn't answer. Instead, he would look for a way to pick quarrel. But the thing is that the quarrels never last because they are not used to keeping malice and quarrels in their marriage. So even when her husband starts the quarrel, he will still be the one to come to her and apologize. He came home one day and told Jane that he has changed his phone number, and so he gave her the new one. David, please, what is going on with you? Nothing. He looked confused, but he couldn't summon the courage to tell his wife what was going on with him. At midnight, Jane woke him up and asked, "Babe, you know you can tell me anything." "It's me, oh, Jenny, your lovely wife. Talk to me. What is your problem? What is going on? Did you get into a bad deal or business?" "No, I did not," David answered. "Is this about another woman?" "No." Jane didn't know what else to do, so she allowed him to deal with it himself. But then she started to look around and search around the house to know if she would see anything. She had wanted to call Kenneth, his friend, but she doesn't in any way like him, so she decided not to call him. Then one day, she pretended to be fast asleep when David's phone started ringing. It was around 2 a.m. in the morning. He picked the call and ran off to the bathroom. Unknowingly to him, his wife followed him immediately. "What is it?" he said in a whispered tone. "What do you want from me? How did you get my new number? I have sent you money countless times. Why don't you want to leave me alone? You are gradually destroying my home and my happiness. Please, I beg you, I am not doing again. Oh God, how did I get myself into this mess? You want me to come and see you tomorrow? Okay, I will come, but after tomorrow, I won't come again. Please, leave me alone." As he stepped out of the bathroom, he saw his wife. He froze. She looked at him as tears rolled down her eyes. "David, so it's been about another woman. After 20 years. So there is another woman." David was broken. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to explain this to his wife. He went straight to the sitting room to calm his head. Early in the morning, he left the house for Kenneth's house. "What? How did she get your new line?" "My brother, I don't know. I am finished." "Ha! Which one is that you are finished? Finished for what now? See, oh, let me tell you, you are a man. Stand firm and talk to your wife. You are an odogu and you are entitled to enjoy as many women as you wish to." Kenneth, can you hear yourself? How can you even be saying this? See, my friend, let me tell you, if you snooze, you lose. I know Jeno. she would ask for a divorce and ask for all you have labored for. So, you better wise up. David went home and instead of apologizing and explaining things to his wife, he called himself a man and how he is entitled to so many wives. Jane was pained. What hurt her the most is the fact that she didn't even get an apology from her husband. David, a relationship of 20 years, and this is how you want to ruin it all because of your selfish desire. David never cared, but then Jen noticed that the anonymous caller stopped calling, but their lives never remained the same. Jane asked for a separation and David, out of fear, ran to Kenneth and told him, if she wants a separation, then file for a divorce. Once you do that, she will change her mind. And once she changes her mind, the fear of not losing you, then you are free to enjoy as many women as you wish. But when David asked for a divorce, Jane gladly accepted it and started the divorce proceedings. Jane was not ready to take anything that belonged to her husband. All she wanted was her own property and a share of the ones they acquired together. Kenneth, of course, told David not to accept just like that. He gingered David to turn the divorce to a very messy one, and he did. David started to demand for a portion of Jane's business. He knows how much sweat she has put into building that business, yet he wanted to have it. They started cursing and throwing insults on each other. Every time they see each other is war and fight. Jane at some point started to consider giving him a portion of her business just for her sanity and for the sake of her kids, who were obviously affected by the whole issue. But David had also refused to give her a portion of his company, just as their lawyer stated. There and then at the lawyer's office, they started fighting again. Jane insulted him, called him names that he has never heard before in his life. David went cold. As he entered his car, some of those names Jane called him kept ringing in his ears. How did we get here? How did all of this happen? How come I never told my wife that what I had with that lady was a one-night stand which I so much regretted? How come I never told her that those calls and hiding was because the lady was blackmailing me and I was so scared that she would leave me if she finds out? Then I started bragging instead of pleading for mercy when she found out. God, please help me. He got home and it was Thursday evening. He sat down and remembered that Thursday nights are for stories and movies in his home. He remembered the laughter, the fun, the kisses, and how their kids would clap for them whenever they catch him kissing his wife. Daddy, remain a small portion of mommy for us, so his son would always tell him, she's my wife, young man. They would all laugh. He sat down as he felt a coldness all over his body. How on earth did I sacrifice my one and only source of happiness for a few minutes of fun? How did I let Kenneth turn me into this? I miss my family. I miss my wife. I miss my children. He picked up his phone and sent his wife a voice note. I miss you so much there. It's Thursday night and you all are not here to share this evening with me. Please, can we meet tomorrow at our favorite restaurant to talk this out? Even if this divorce must happen, please, can you please hear me out? The next day at 5 p.m., Jane was at the restaurant and her husband was already there waiting to see her. He stood up to hug her just like they used to, but Jane ignored him and sat down. What do you want to eat? He asked. I am not hungry. David, what do you want? Why am I here? David calmly explained to his wife all that happened, starting from how he met the lady in the club and how they ended up in a hotel room that he didn't pay for. So how did she get your phone number? Cause from all you just told me, you didn't give her your contact. I don't know. Then you changed your number. How did she get a new one? Wait, are you sure it's not Kenneth, your friend? Because Kenneth told me you have been with this lady for 6 months and that it wasn't just her. David was shocked. Jane called Kenneth and after exchanging pleasantries, asked Kenneth how long her husband has been with the other lady. More than 6 months, so he actually told me he was tired of you and needed someone else. Immediately, David spoke. So Kenneth, it's been you all this while. Kenneth laughed and called him a fool for trying to divorce his beautiful wife. My dear, you can't be my friend and have a happy home. This is the same way you called me a fool when my wife left me. You could have helped me apologize to her, knowing how much she respects you, but you refused, claiming that you gave her your word that if I mess up again, she is free to go. You told her to go and think that I am happy that you have a good marriage. Hell no, bro. We all should be divorced and be single and miserable together. I brought that girl that night. I drugged your drink and made you tipsy. I took you to her hotel room. I gave her your phone number. When you changed your line, I gave her the new one. It's all me and me alone. Jane felt bad because she knew how much she had warned her husband about Kenneth, but he would never listen to her. David was shocked. He knelt down and sincerely apologized to his wife. You warned me, but I never listened to you. My dear, please forgive me. I want us back. I want my family back. I want us to be happy again. Jane stood up and hugged her husband. She forgave him and they lived happily ever after. Moral lesson: the story teaches that seeking advice from others, especially when it concerns personal relationships, should be done cautiously. It's important to trust your own judgment and communicate openly with your partner rather than relying solely on external influences. Additionally, the story highlights the significance of trust and honesty in a relationship and the potential consequences of letting deceit and manipulation affect your decisions. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more interesting stories from Amaka's Folk Tales. Bye bye.